On the hit list of 94.3 Radio 1 Ed Sheeran with this wonderful track, Azizam. And well, it's time to get into the first excerpt of my conversation with musician slash filmmaker Nitish Pires, who's made a wonderful movie in the form of Vaimanik that has been winning accolades at IFFI. So without further ado, it's time to get into the first excerpt of my conversation with Nitish Pires.
You're tuned in to 94.3 Radio 1, and this is Cruise Control with Bharat.
Hey, you're listening to Cruise Control. I'm a drive time homie Bharat, joined by musician slash filmmaker Nitish Pires, who's of course hailing from Goa. He's made this wonderful movie which is called Vaimanik, that has of course been lauded at IFFI. And well, Nitish, so good to catch you in your moment. Putting in so much of hard work into this labor of love of yours, that's Vaimanik, and getting all this, garnering all of this appreciation. How do you feel at this point of time? And talk to us about it. How did this movie come to be?
First of all, thank you very much, Bharat, for having me at your 94.3 Radio 1. And I really want to thank you again because, for introducing me as a musician and a filmmaker, because that's how I would like to be addressed. Thank you so much for that. Because it's mostly filmmakers and then musician, but there's a musician who made a film. So that's my take on this. But then, yeah, it's been a really amazing time. I think one of the best moments in my life when where my little thought, manifested into IFFI nomination and a premiere. So I think, nothing greater than that. An achievement for someone who's an independent, doesn't have any big studio and stuff, did everything by myself. So I think it is wonderful feeling.
Wow, more power to you. It's so interesting to hear what you said, because not having backing and going out in there making a film is a really challenging task, an uphill task. There are so many departments when you go out to, when you set out to make a film. What was the most challenging aspect of putting Vaimanik together, according to you?
Even in my past, what happened, people used to tell me, what is the most challenging part of putting across your art? Like that time it was music and stuff. But then, the most honest answer that I have is it was never challenging. Why? I loved every moment, and I lived in the moment, and I never felt it was a challenge. It was an expression of, love, an expression of a dream that I had, So I never felt it challenging. I'm so sorry, maybe it's boring, but that's a true answer, that I loved every bit of it. And I was so much in the moment that I didn't feel any challenges. I was just like flowing, right from the start to the end. So yeah, it's not a work for me. I keep telling people that, we as an artist, we dream. When we start things, we dream about doing something. And when the universe gives us an opportunity, then why should we feel stressed? It should be the happiest moment, and we should continue it. And that's a blessing. That's what we were working towards, and that's the chance that we got. So
wow, there's so much of optimism and positivity in the words that you're saying, and you really seem someone who's really gravitated towards the process of filmmaking, which could be really challenging. Well, so much fun talking to Nitish Pires right here on the Tuesday show of Cruise Control. Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with a few more excerpts of my conversation with him all throughout this hour. You're listening to Cruise Control. I'm a drive time homie Bharat on the airwaves of 94.3 Radio 1, one world station. On the hit list of 94.3 Radio 1, we're bringing you back-to-back bops. And well, it's time to get into the second excerpt of my conversation with musician slash filmmaker Nitish Pires, who's made a wonderful film in the form of Vaimanik that has been winning accolades at IFFI. So without further ado, it's time to get into the second excerpt of my conversation with Nitish Pires.
You're tuned in to 94.3 Radio 1, and this is Cruise Control with Bharat.
I would like to ask you, how did the idea of Vaimanik come to be? What is it that gravitated you towards the subject matter, and how long did you take to write this whole movie?
Yeah, interestingly, so I was kind of looking, obviously I was doing a lot of ad jingles and later on as I trained myself as a cinematographer, it took me like 20-25 years altogether, right from the day I picked up my guitar, okay? And it took me 25 years to be really able to do this film. It's not like I just planned it yesterday. To make a feature film, it's been like, I've been planning from the last 6 years. Okay, making a short video or music video or a reel is not equal to making a feature film. Like how you said, there are so many departments. Everything needs to be synchronized properly. Everything needs to connect to each other. There's a continuity. Continuity is the biggest thing, right?
Absolutely.
In a narrative 135 minutes long, that's the biggest challenge. It all started with like me obviously wanting to make a film, and with the kind of I'm sort of like, I would still say I'm a self-taught musician and a self-taught filmmaker. And I can finally call myself filmmaker, a director.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. So anyways, from the last 6 years, I've been trying to find a script, and then I've been like always, my approach towards this filmmaking was actually faith. faith. Like everything, whatever the universe is giving me, I'm just gonna translate and let it out. So that was a rule I followed. So I said, it has to come to me. There will be no retakes. I will not judge my own film. If it's come to me, it is right. Okay. So so that's the core of it. And then what happened was I was still finding a story, and one day, I was sitting with a friend, and then suddenly he was talking about something called a pilot, and which is the pilot in Goa is basically the motorcycle taxi out here. So he was talking about that, about some story he has about a motorcycle taxi guy who we call pilot in Goa. And then suddenly what happened, it all I don't know what happened. I suddenly got an idea that time about the actual pilot, and something which I was long associated all my childhood. I dreamt of becoming a pilot. Okay. For 18, 19 years of my education, I did my graduation in physics, chemistry, mathematics only to become a pilot. But unfortunately, for some reason, I had to change the ways. Okay. I had to give up that dream. Everything came together. And then parallelly, I was also trying to look for a script which can be organic, which doesn't need to be, which can be narrated with natural lightings rather than. So I wanted to shoot everything organically, and plus something where which can express the culture of Goa, not the culture right now in the world, but something which is very pure, organic, and has a lot of people don't have time right now to even talk to each other. But back in 20, 30 years ago, people have a lot of time, to be compassionate, to be humanly more involved. So anyway, so that thought just came that time, and then it took me around 1 month to finish the script. I'll not say I wrote the script. It came to me, and it just came to me in a flow. And in 15 days, I think I did my first draft, and I just went through. And within a month, I had the screenplay ready. So it was very fast, actually. And I think it was fast because my whole philosophy or belief is whenever I used to sing, also when I used to compose a song, if it didn't come to me, if I couldn't finish the lyrics in 10 minutes, then I would not continue, because then it is not what I wanted. And since being a follower of classic rock like Jimi Hendrix and people, even when they're singing, they might sound a little off and everything, But I think that's the moment, we don't judge the process. And the whole idea was, whatever comes to me, I'm just gonna pen it down and focus. And that's how during the shoot also, I didn't do a big casting session or something. I met people, I felt it, and I said, okay, you are in. So you didn't even take a, audition. No, I feel good about you. And I'm sure it's going to work out.
Well, so much fun talking to Nitish Pires right here on the Tuesday show of Cruise Control. Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with a few more excerpts of my conversation with him all throughout this hour. You're listening to Cruise Control. I'm a drive time homie Bharat on the airwaves of 94.3 Radio 1. One world, your station. On the hit list of 94.3 Radio 1, we're bringing you back-to-back bops. And well, it's time to get into the third excerpt of my conversation with musician / filmmaker Nitish Pires, who's made a wonderful movie in the form of Vaimanik that has been winning accolades at IFFI. So without further ado, it's time to get into the third excerpt of my conversation with Nitish Pires.
You're tuned in to 94.3 Radio 1, and this is Cruise Control with Bharat.
I would actually like to ask you about this, Nitish. Being a musician, a cinematographer, and now a filmmaker, a celebrated filmmaker now. Congrats on that. You're not only a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I would actually like to ask you about this, what is it that you would find as a commonality barring the flow state aspect in both music and filmmaking? What would it be for you?
Imagination, because when you write a song, okay, the first thing that comes out, is a seed. I don't know about the approaches what other people have, but I'm just going to talk about me. It was always a thought. The thought was, in terms of writing, a mental image. Okay, so when I wrote songs, it was a whole story, right from start till end. However, the song was for 4 minutes, whatever. So I think that's one flow which is pretty much common. It's just that right now you are bringing that mental image. You're manifesting it into the visual medium. So I think that's one flow that's very common. It's art.
Wow. Who are the filmmakers and musicians that have influenced you growing up, Nitish? The visual literature and the musical soundscape of artists that you really gravitate towards. Who would they be?
Okay, I've been in terms of music, I'm not connecting film and music. Music is music. However, I'm a classic rocker.
Yeah, you mentioned Jimi Hendrix, of course. Yeah.
More than that, I was a hardcore Black Sabbath fan. So I wouldn't listen to any other band for 4 or 5 years. I was so narrow-minded. Everything was not right for me. When I was very young in my college.
Right.
So, but then gradually as I grew up, I opened up. I got a bit of classical training, for a year in Indian Carnatic classical for 7 months, and like around same time Hindustani classical I did. Okay, and as a guitar player, so so it opened me. That training itself opened me to a lot of other genres. And then today, if you tell me the music itself, starting right from Black Sabbath till A.R. Rahman, I mean, A.R. Rahman has been such a great, influence on, I think, every musician in India, because, the revolutionary changes that he brought in the 90s. And, so I think I would like to give credit to Mr. A.R. Rahman because being an Indian and we have one international persona, who's representing us. So yeah, he's been a great influence with kind of like the stuff that he did. And apart from that, obviously, like Hans Zimmer, which filmmaker is not a fan of
mesmerized
Hans
by his
Zimmer.
music. Yeah. I mean, he's making music for Ramayana with A.R. Rahman now, so that's super cool. Yes.
And then obviously Pink Floyd. Why Pink Floyd? Because the kind of soundscaping they had. One of their biggest album was The Wall, which was visually a film also. It really inspired. Such things really inspired me. Where musicals, stuff like that. Really inspired me. But yeah, it's been a lot of other people together. It's not one person.
Lovely, Nitish. Wow, you have such great influences. Well, so much fun talking to Nitish Pires right here on the Tuesday show of Cruise Control. Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to be back with the last excerpt of my conversation with him. You're listening to Cruise Control. I'm your drive time homie Bharat on the airwaves of 94.3 Radio 1, One World, your station. On the hit list of 94.3 Radio 1, we're bringing you back-to-back bops. And well, it's time to get into the last excerpt of my conversation with musician/filmmaker Nitish Pires, who's made a wonderful movie in the form of Vaimanik that has been winning praises at IFFI. So without further ado, it's time to get into the last excerpt of my conversation with Nitish Pires.
You're tuned in to 94.3 Radio 1, and this is Cruise Control with Bharat.
I would like to ask you about all the appreciation that you've garnered at IFFI now. How has that empowered you as a filmmaker, and what has been the best compliment that you've received for Vaimanik?
Yeah. So the first thing was, right after the preview. Okay. I mean, right after the premiere. So the people came, and then one person came and he showed me the goosebumps. I swear. Okay. Wow. Everyone who came here, whoever came to me after the premiere, especially the Goans, and then this is the film. This is the film what Goa should. We want as Goans. One came and said, I feel proud to be Goan. This film makes me proud. So the most amazing thing was a person showing me his goosebumps, and right after the premiere, I was handed over the microphone by the host. I really didn't have, I could not speak anything. I'm not a bad speaker, but then I was fumbling because I didn't know how to react to this thing. For one, seeing my film, which I made in my small studio in the garage. I call it a garage more than a studio, being projected on a real cinema theater. How many people in this world right now are getting that thing done? I was so proud, to really see my screen with a full house. It was a house full. There were people trying to come inside, but there were no seats inside. So, it made me really see. At the end, the biggest pride was acknowledgement by my country, India, who acknowledged my film, gave me the platform. IFFI gave me the platform. It was not some other festivals in the world, but it was my own country who gave me this thing. My Goa, it was in my Goa, and that was another pride that I had. And the biggest was people coming to me and giving me instant feedback, and I could see it. You can see an eyes, you can see a lying eyes, or you can see a real eyes. So I think I'm still speechless about that. I still have to gather everything.
Wonderful. Wow. I'm so happy for you, man. I mean, I can really see the passion in your eyes, and you seem so elated with the response that you've got in this labor of love of yours. What are the kind of films that you want to make, Nitish, moving forward?
See, as of now, this is my only drama film. Till now, I don't know about future, that I could write and I will write. I don't know, because I'm a pretty action guy. I'm a sci-fi action filmmaker, and I like entertaining films. Obviously, this is only a film which is a drama, very realistic. So yeah, the kind of films that I have something a little sci-fi, which no one has probably attempted in India, itself. So that's what I'm really looking forward to start. I hope someone will come and fund me now.
To all the producers listening right now, please go and bankroll the ideas of Nitish. He's a man with immense passion.
yes, and for marketing's sake, I promise no one can make a film in my budget in all across the world.
Wow. Well, that sounds like a good proposition to any potential producer. Well, thank you so much for your time, Nitish. I'm I'm so happy for you, and I really hope that you keep putting out the wonderful work that you have been putting. And more power to you, and kudos to you for everything that you do moving forward.
Thank you very much, Bharat. Really pleasure to that you had me.
Well, so much fun talking to Nitish Pires right here on the Tuesday show of Cruise Control, and kudos to Utsav from Brand Banter for making this conversation happen. Well, we're going to be back with more. You're listening to Cruise Control. I'm a drive time homie Bharat on the airwaves of 94.3 Radio 1, One World Station.